Right now, the U.S. Supreme Court is taking up a case with major implications for gun rights advocates. At issue here, and what the justices are asked to decide, is whether it should be a crime for someone to purchase a gun for another person who is also legally entitled to own a weapon. Wendy Patrick joins us, San Diego County Deputy District Attorney and Prosecutor. Dwane Cates joins us. He is a criminal defense attorney. Good to see you both. Dwane, if both individuals are allowed to possess a gun, I'm wondering, where's the crime here? You know, the Second Amendment, I agree, is not absolute. But in order for a state to regulate the Second Amendment, there has to be a compelling public safety interest. Where is there one in this case?
Well, it also has to be narrowly tailored. And the original law was narrowly tailored. It was you couldn't buy guns for people that couldn't buy a gun on their own, convicted felons,
right.
People with psychological problems. The law morphed over time to where now you have to check a box that you're not going to sell the gun. And again, does that mean if I buy a gun at a gun store, I can never sell that gun to anybody? You know, all this man was doing was trying to use his police discount to get his uncle a gun at a discount. His uncle, he even made his uncle pass a background check before he got the gun.
Yeah, Wendy, let me go to you. If the ultimate buyer and the intermediate buyers are both lawfully allowed to buy a gun, to have a gun, where's the crime? What's wrong with that?
The problem is that we can't pick and choose the laws that we're going to follow based on whether or not we agree with the rationale. I mean, here it's true. The only difference was that the nephew got the discount for being ex-law enforcement. But the problem with choosing whether or not we're going to obey a law based on whether we agree with it is a slide towards anarchy. He lied on the form because at the time he bought the gun, he knew he wasn't going to be the possessor. He had already made the decision and apparently had already been paid to transfer the ownership to his uncle. That was the problem.
All right. Let me switch subjects now. We want to turn to the 14-count indictment of the former governor of Virginia, Bob McDonnell, and his wife for corruption. Now, Dwane, they are accused of taking a lot of money and gifts, about $165,000 worth, allegedly, from a businessman in exchange for access and favors in promoting the man's business. You know, look, you're a defense attorney, so I'm wondering what the former governor's defense is. Is he going to say, hey, wait a minute, these were just personal loans, that's not illegal, and guess what? I was only helping a constituent because that's part of my job.
Well, you know, what he did wasn't right, and it wasn't smart, and he probably shouldn't have done it, but I don't think it's illegal. Just like you said, these were personal gifts, personal loans, and what the company got in exchange was just to be able to sit next to him. His wife would show up something. It's no different than President Obama going to Solyndra and making a speech about how wonderful Solyndra is and how it's going to help. He was trying to help to create business and jobs for his state. You know, it may not have been smart, but I don't think it was illegal.
Yeah. You know, Wendy, several of these counts, when you look at the indictment, it's 43 pages long. They deal with this notorious honest services. Even the Supreme Court took a big swipe at that, you know, calling it largely vague and ambiguous and overbroad. Can't the O'Donnells argue, look, nothing of material value here was conferred to the businessman because there were no contracts extended to him and his business, no state grants, no economic incentives?
Well, that brings up a couple of good points that you raised. First of all, how do we define material advantages? How do we define value? I have read all 43 pages of the indictment, and it is incredibly detailed. It outlines 2 years' worth of events that were very specific. It also deals with a lot of what most of us would call luxury items. And the allegations are that it was a quid pro quo. It wasn't simply a personal relationship where generosity was being received, but in fact, it was an I'll scratch your back, you'll scratch mine. That at least is what the allegations as they stand now spell out. And I know they're only allegations, but that's what we're dealing with now, and they are very specific, I might point out as well.
Well, the real problem may be allegations of lying and obstruction. You know, it's the old Watergate saying, it's never the crime, it's the cover-up. We'll leave it at that. Dwane Cates, Wendy Patrick, good to see you both. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Greg.